just like a basic intro. So who is Rodney Lister? Let me tell you all, who is Rodney Lister? You do not know. I know we have individuals tuning in. We're on YouTube Live, we're on Facebook Live. We have some good times tonight. Lori's got us hooked up on Facebook as well with our YouTube and extended version. So what I wanted to just say is this gentleman has taken the, I don't even know what a word to me that's large enough, but this man has taken it to his life path journey at this time to run for the mayor of the city of Compton. I've got there's a lot of information. So Rodney and I have been collaborating and talking in terms of how to do the show and what we were going to do about the show. And the first thing, this was me asking as the interviewer, and the very first thing Rodney says to me is, you can ask me anything. There is nothing off the table.
Nothing off the table.
Nothing off the table. Right?
Everything's fair game.
Is that fair still going tonight?
Everything's fair game.
That's so cool, but it's going to be all amazing and exciting good stuff. So I'm so excited. So how are you tonight, Mr.
Good, good. Great weather today.
Right?
Beautiful feeling. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah.
I'm blown away and impressed.
Oh, great!
I'm blown
Yay!
impressed. I had no idea what it looked like to be on a radio show that's televised, and I'm just honored to be the first of many.
Exactly.
That you all do.
Yes. This is going to be it. This is it. So the city of Compton. I have so many questions. As you say, I have a list of things. But I guess I'm just going to ask the first one is, why run for mayor?
That's a great question. That's a question that a lot of people ask off the top all the time whenever they see me or doing things on social media and whatnot. Back in January 2017, I made a public pronouncement. I called my fraternity brothers up and I said, hey, meet me at the Edison in downtown Los Angeles. He said, why? I said, just meet me at the Edison downtown Los Angeles. And my Sands, my neophytes, we all got together and come in, sitting down, just talking. I made an announcement. I said, in 4 years, I'm going to run for mayor of Compton. And they said, what? I said, yeah, in 4 years, I'm going to run for mayor of Compton. And they kind of had this stunned look like, well, why? That's a major step for a person that's never been involved in politics.
Right.
Never spoke about being involved in politics. And their whole thing was, well, why? And I said, because nothing's changed in the city that I grew up in, that we grew up in. And I just saw things getting worse. Things were going backwards. The quality of life, the beauty of the city was going backwards. The issues with crime, the issues with housing, the issue with homeless, everything, nothing was changing. And to be known, the mayor, the current mayor, when she ran 4 years ago, when she ran 8 years ago, her term, her motto was a better tomorrow. And 4 years ago, she had a, let's finish what we started. And it bothered me. I said, well, nothing's changed, so what's there to finish? And I didn't want to be a guy on the sideline complaining, saying, I can do this, what about this? This is bad, like a lot of people do. I said, I'm going to get in the game. I'm going to go ahead and start getting more involved with city politics, start going to city council meetings every Tuesday. Start going to the budget workshops, start going to the community town hall meetings to learn what other individuals in the city were talking about and become more familiar with what is currently going on in Compton. And I just committed myself 4 years ago. And I came around for nomination process and getting signatures, and I went down, didn't tell anyone, put paperwork, and asked my neighbors, would you sign?
Really?
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Yes.
That's a huge undertaking. I kind of feel like.
Yeah. And then I realized how expensive it is to run too.
Okay, let's tell us about it behind the scenes. What did you know about the
I just thought that you went down.
Okay, let's know.
I thought that you went down, you got the paperwork, you pulled it, people signed endorsing you, said, I approve of you to run, and then you paid a fee when you turned it back in. I knew it was a fee involved, I didn't know how much. But just to pull the paperwork before you, so that you can get signatures, it's $300.
Did you say
$300 off the top.
Oh, wow.
So when I walked in there, I wasn't prepared for that, and I was like, oh, yeah, because that's the moment of truth.
Right. Put up or shut up.
When you know what's going on, you have opportunity to go ahead and get your funds together in December prior to the election. I didn't know, I walked in cold. You know, I walked in cold, I was like, geez, man,
It's a good holiday season.
you know, Christmas just ended. Got
You are
credit
really-
card debt.
Really wanna run.
You know, I really want to run. And so you pull that, you get the signatures, 20 signatures. I got 30. Because, yeah, right. Because they had to be registered voters in the city.
Yes.
So, because of coming off a presidential election, I feel fairly confident that everyone was registered to vote. And but I just got extra in case someone's signature didn't match up or whatever. And then, so when you turn it back in, it's another fee. That's
Okay,
$500.
Okay, wait a minute,
Look at
there's
Laura.
a fee to get the
There's a fee to
application,
get the application,
and there's a fee to return
and
it?
there's a fee to return it.
Big pen.
Is that standard, or is that just happening in our city?
You know, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if other cities, I should go ahead and say this, I'm quite sure other cities have fees associated with getting your name on the ballot to run for office. I'm not sure if they do it on the front end, the way the city of Compton does, or if they do it on the back end all at one time. Now, I was aware of that fee because I pulled the documents. He said, when you come back, you got to
How
pay
much is that fee?
500.
What?
What?
Yeah.
So the turn
So
back
I did
in fee is
$850.
$500?
Exactly.
So it cost you $800 just to declare candidacy?
Yes, ma'am.
I
So,
never knew that.
yeah, so,
I'm 137 years old, and I never knew that. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So a lot of people, so you do have people, and this is the thing that goes into a different area, but this is the thing that I have a problem with. You pay $300 to pull the paperwork to collect signatures. But suppose you change your mind.
Right.
Suppose you realize that work commitments, I can't run, I can't be involved. You don't get that money back. So once,
It's not like that, when you buy a car and you have that,
No,
whatever
no,
you rent,
ma'am.
and you can like take it back.
because I asked that question.
But you know, Rodney, I can support that, because I think when things are monetized, right, then people really consider and take the time to determine whether or not they're gonna be invested. The part that I'm having trouble with is the $500 return fee. What does that encompass?
Well, that covers signage. So a lot of times in campaigns, you see individuals put up their placards and their posters on walls and so utility boxes and everything. And they don't always come back and take them down. You look up a year later, you still see a sign that says, Rodney, listen for mayor.
Right.
Well, the seer, that $500 fee, you do get that back.
Oh, you do?
You do get that back.
Okay.
And that's in the event that the city has to pull and discard any signage that you didn't pick up.
Then
So,
you forfeit it. You
yeah,
don't get it back.
yes. And there's a certain time frame, probably a month, and then they get it back to you. But the thing is, I wasn't aware of these fees until I went down there. And that's on me, it didn't bother me.
That's what we could to find out, right?
Exactly, so when I went down there, for a fleeting second, I said, do you really want to do this? Because you're coming off $800 almost immediately.
There is a question.
So you have to tell
That's
yourself,
850, right?
800.
Okay, the first one's 3, okay.
So you have to, so you're asking yourself, am I really going to do this? Am I going to really campaign, participate, get my name out there, go to the various forums? And as you said, to monetize it, that means if you're really serious about this, put your money up. And there's some other ancillary fees that are associated, but the two fees that you have to pay are the 300 and the 500. And the 300 caught me off guard because I didn't know you had to pay it to pull it.
Right.
It didn't bother me, I just didn't know you had to pay to pull it. But I knew,
But
once I,
can you, so I hear, I've never run in a campaign, so I don't know. But I hear people say they have campaign funds. Is it possible, what if I don't have $800? Can
You
I
ain't running.
create,
Well-
can I like start campaign funding, give me a GoFundMe or something? To
well,
be able to establish that 800?
ideally,
I'm having questions of parity, you see what I'm saying? You know,
ideally,
equity and parity.
and I'm not an expert in campaign financing.
Okay,
However, I would think that there are probably some regulations that say when you can start collecting funds to run a campaign. But the average person who's brand new, once they pull the paperwork and turn it back in, you would start campaigning at that point. You would start doing fund collection at that time, donations at that time, because there's a paper trail saying that you pull
Right, that you,
paperwork and
so
everything.
you gotta have 300.
Yeah, now me, because I'm new to this, I'm a novice, I did it all on my own. I paid the 300, I paid the 500, and then I began interacting with some of my friends who offered to donate and things of that nature. And but it's uncomfortable having to ask people to support you when you don't move like that. You know, but in politics you have to. It costs money to run. Well, to run a good campaign. And I'm learning a lot about this. But going back to the original question, I decided to run because I didn't want to be a person on the sideline, always complaining about why aren't they doing something, and putting the skin in the game. So, and then as I started doing that 4 years ago, and learning different things and saying, well, why is this like this, and then that's not good, and why does this person act like this, and so on and so forth. I said, Compton needs to change. And I felt that I could be that person. I could be the person to effectuate that change, be that spark.
How many individuals are running for you?
The whole world. You have 10 individuals that are running.
Wow, what is that? Wow.
And
10.
the current mayor announced the last week of filing that she was not going to seek office. So they had to, by city charter, they had to extend the nomination period an additional week. And then some more individuals came in and signed up to run. And that's fine. So some people run because they know that's what they want to do. And some people run because it's an opportunity because the current person's not there. I was going to run regardless. I would have preferred the mayor had ran. Because I could have ran my campaign or said, this is what you've done for 8 years. This is how I'm different. Compare and contrast type of thing. So when there's no incumbent running, your race has to be a little different. Make sure you stand out from other people.
Right, wow. Have we seen a race like this before, historically? We didn't do that research. What about you, Rodney?
I can't recall an election in Compton where
Closest may have been Walter Tucker Jr. Remember there was
Yes,
Walter Tucker the third.
Yes, so
because
that would've
Jr.
been-
died in office.
no, his father
The
died.
father, but he
Yeah.
was Walter Tucker
Senior.
Jr.
That was
No,
senior.
the son is the third.
I thought the son was the one congressman that went to Washington D.C.
He is, which is Walter Tucker the third.
Okay.
And I think his dad passed away, there was a special election,
Okay.
and he served for 2 years.
Now, special elections seem to be a little different because of things like that, or
Right.
someone moving on to a higher office at the state level of Congress. But I can't recall an election where the incumbent
Right.
decided not to run. When you look at Omar Bradley, and when he ran against Eric Sheridan, that was a sitting against a newcomer. And when you have Mayor Brown, who ran against Mayor Sheridan at the time, there was a sitting running against an incumbent. I can't recall an incumbent deciding
Yeah,
not to run.
deciding not to run.
And even in the case of death, you still, that's a unique situation. But that person, if he hadn't passed away, may he rest in peace, he may have still decided to run again. Or some,
Right,
we don't know
he's
because.
dead, right,
right.
absolutely. No?
That's a good question. We can go by that. We can talk about that way later. So, okay.
I said my research.
Okay, so I have a juicy question. So Lori and I did a little bit of research, and we kind of did a little bit of sampling, and so I asked some questions to different friends, like, what would you want to see change or be different in the city of Compton? So, if elected mayor, what would be your first executive order of business?
I don't know if the mayor has the authority to do an executive order where he or she comes in and says, bang, this is what it is. But one of the first things I request, I've said this numerous times, the city of Compton has a budget deficit. We don't know how big or how small it is. City staff is given a report of $100 million. The mayor, within the past 2 weeks, has said it's only $16 million. That's a big gap. That's
Okay.
a huge gap.
I'm a little slow. So you said there's a budget of $100 million?
No, what I'm saying is that at a city council meeting,
Okay.
about a month and a half or so ago, city staff made a presentation to mayor and council, and at that time, they said that the budget deficit was approximately $117 million.
The deficit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
117 million.
Okay.
So, about 2 weeks ago, plus or minus a few days, the mayor reported that the deficit, in writing, that the deficit was only $16 million. So.
With a paragraph that explained what
No,
happened?
no,
to
just
the other-
said that, it was mentioned that some changes were done, some budgetary things were made, and $64 million was eliminated, and now it's only 16, but no real backup. You know how when you're in grade school, and the math teacher gives you a math problem, and she says, here's homework, bring it back and show your work?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, especially when you do division, you got to.
Right.
You
See
know,
all your work.
raise
not
half
just
the
the
page
end,
for
right.
one answer.
Absolutely.
Well, there was no work shown when the $16 million was explained. So, with that being the case, and then the state, Secretary of State years ago had said that the city of Compton was in a budget deficit. At that time, I believe she said $11 million. So, the first thing I would do and ask my fellow council members is on a forensic accounting, just to gauge what money we have, what money we're pulling in from property taxes, sales taxes, grants, state funds, county funds, federal funds, and what we're paying out. Staff salaries, pension, contractual obligations, equipment, vehicles, law enforcement contract, and what things are we delinquent on? What bonds have we not paid for? Because the only way you can do a budget and have it be a true, accurate, realistic budget is know how much money
Correct.
you have.
That's like a fundamental premise.
I always
right?
give the example.
Exactly.
I always give the example of I want to buy a car, and I say, geez, well, I want to buy what kind of car, and I narrow it down, and then I go ahead and I look at the car and I test drive the car, and then when I go in the back to actually buy that car, and the guy says, well, how are you going to pay for this? I have to know how much money is in my bank account.
Absolutely.
I have to know that I can have an X amount of monthly payment, and I have to know that I have X amount of the bank for down payment. If I can't answer the question when he says, how you gonna pay for this car, why am I looking at cars? We can't do any real programming, expansion of services, brand new services, without knowing how much money we have. So, executive order, not really executive order, would be forensic financial accounting of all the money. The second thing I would do, council doesn't get along. For whatever reason, personal, philosophical, a myriad of
Voting
reasons.
blocks.
Right. You're never gonna move forward as a team with a decision in the ranks. So I really would request and require that a retreat be held, and you have to do it in confines of making sure that you adhere to the Brown Act, which is open meeting law, and so on and so forth. And it can be done, but you have to notify the public where you're going, the purpose of the retreat and all that. And for a couple of days, sit down and hammer out what's going on. Identify where we want to get individually as a council, where we want the city to move to, and any personal issues individuals might have, you need to hammer that out. Because if you and your sister have a personal issue, I'm not involved directly. But I need y'all to hammer that out, because we can't go anywhere together as a threesome, because there's a beef right here. A lot of good ideas in the city council don't get approved, don't get put into action because of that disagreement, that lack of unity. So you do have council members that won't vote for something that's a good idea because of an issue they have with the individual person. And politics is politics. That happens on every level, we see it. But the city of Compton is too small, and our situation is too dire for us to be in that situation. So the second thing to do is go on a retreat.
Yeah,
I might not ever get along with you,
right.
but if we both can agree that we both love the city of Compton, and we both want to move that forward, I can play nice with you in the sandbox.
Absolutely.
That needs to happen.
Right, it absolutely
So
does.
that'll be the second thing.
What was your thoughts on it?
Oh, no, I agree. It
Yeah.
definitely does.
I know, that makes a big difference, guys, that makes a humongous difference. Wow, what?
Yeah, I
It's
like
way
it.
too many questions?
No, this is
Way
fun.
too many.
I'm enjoying it.
What do you say to those that say, Mr. Lister, do you have what it takes to be the mayor of the city of Compton? I saw a couple of Facebook posts that I will keep nameless, but still.
That is a great question, and I was talking to some friends this past week or so about this. No one's born a city council member. No one's born a mayor, no one's born a city attorney, no one's born a treasurer at all. Every person that is a current member of council, or school board, or council supervisor, whatever, they had to run without ever holding that position. So, no one outside of Ms. Sharif, who is a current city council member, no one out of the 10 individuals, only one has the experience of ever being a city council member. So, do I have what it takes? Yes, but if the qualification is, have you ever been an elected official before at the city level? None of us do.
Right.
So to answer that question, the answer would be, on my end, yes, because of my work experience, my history. I've been a civil servant my entire life.
Okay.
My dad was a federal government civil servant. My mom was a school teacher their entire careers. I saw what they did. Went to college, majored in political science, and as corny as it might sound, I had friends that had jobs, they had to work on the weekends, they didn't get holidays off, and I said, man, I want a job where I'm off on the weekend. I want a job where I get holidays.
Absolutely.
And I applied to the city of Compton. I went to college, came back, applied to the city of Compton, as employment training specialist. I had some familiarity with it, but I took that first job because I wanted weekends off.
Well, that's a good
And
thing.
I wanted a constant paycheck.
That part.
And I didn't want to be in sales. But once I got that first job and I saw what we did, that department was a job training program. And I also ran a summer youth program. So we were working with the youth, working with individuals that were recently released from jail, helping get jobs. And I was like, man, the public sector's kind of cool. You get to work with individuals and change people's lives. And I liked it. I liked being that frontline person that was so far removed from politics, but you're doing things to help somebody get a job, helping that young person get their first job. And I like this. You can't get this from working at a bank or working at some major corporation. And from there, I just kept working in the public sector. City of Compton, in the city of Inglewood, and then eventually City of Las Vegas. And I have 36 years in the public sector, working in different departments, different positions. But I like being a person that, having a job that impacted people's livelihoods with the job I had. So, taking that experience and then say, I want to be an elected official. But now you know how the Department of Public Works and Department of Planning, although they're separate, they depend on each other. Because zoning issues are addressed by planning. So when someone comes in and says, I want to put this building here or this building there, with planning and public works, you have to understand how those departments work together. Having worked in the Department of Finance, you have to understand how departments individually put their budgets together, but how it all goes up together to form the budget of the entire city. Understanding how when grants come in and they're broken up to be charged against other departments. Because the staff person might sit in the finance department, but they handle your accounting. So part of your money that's going to the records department, you gotta break off for that person in finance. Understanding how that works. And not be like, well, why are we paying somebody in finance? Well, that's how it has to happen. Understanding the linkages between all the departments and how city managers work with department heads. How city manager works with city council. Being in that arena for 36 years, I believe Well, I know for a fact there's no one else in the field who has that type of experience working in local government. Now, you don't have to work in local government to be a good mayor,
Right.
to be a good council person, so on and so forth. But it doesn't hurt you.
Correct.
So I consider it a situation where we always had this term saying, hit the ground running. You know, people, everyone says it. I know I say it, I mean it. I can literally hit the ground running. Understanding the importance of staff. I've always been a union guy, union representative, union board member, and I can't say that current workers in the city of Compton are mistreated, but they are. I don't believe that they're valued as much as they should be.
Right.
And sometimes you need somebody on council who can understand that. I've been a classified employee my entire career. So I understand that side of civil service and management. But becoming the mayor, now you're management. And you have to understand that. You have to understand you can't just give everything away. But on the flip side, I understand what it's like to be the person that's working with the public all the time, dealing with those frontline issues. We gotta make sure that we train them up, give them the best equipment, give them the best computers that they can have, the software, so that they can do their job right. That's one of the knocks against City of Compton and the procedures. They feel that a lot of times people interact with City Hall, they feel that we're behind the curve. We don't have certain apps and how interacting goes smoother and easier. Yeah, so understanding that, being a person that will want to go ahead and incorporate technology, because at the end of the day, I'm 55 years old. There's somebody right now who's 18, 16. In 10 years, that person is going to be working at City Hall. And every kid today, they do everything via apps.
Absolutely.
So we have to make sure that we prepare for that changing workforce coming in. I believe I understand that. Plus having a 20-year-old son doesn't hurt. So I'm like, what all these apps you showing me, but
Right.
yeah.
Keeps you on the cutting
Yes,
edge.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I most certainly say it would. Oh my gosh, yes, you definitely. We're gonna say, yes, guys, we're gonna put a check mark. Yes, you do have it. So, okay, so speaking of the word Compton, what is your opinion on those individuals who only love the city of Compton for convenience? Have you run across that? And,
You know,
what's up? What-
that's interesting, huh? I recently have made this comment to some people and been publicly. I said, everyone loves Compton until it's time to love Compton. You know, I don't like it. You know, I'm a hip hop guy, but used to be a song by Dub C called Pay Your Dues. You know, I'm very protective of the city of Compton. I grew up in Compton. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly in Compton. I've been pressed in Compton. You know, got ran up on and jumped in Compton. But it's a childhood thing. But those things make you proud of your city. You know, I came through Lucas Park. I worked there as lifeguard, coached youth basketball there. So that park, I've been going there since I was 8 years old. That park became home. You know, understanding how Compton used to be a place where you couldn't go any and everywhere because of what was going on at that moment in time.
Right.
And appreciate the fact that it's not like that right now. Current people who come in and they live there for 4 or 5 years, or they don't understand that. So it's like, to me, it's like, it kind of grates on me because I don't view you quite as Compton. You know, you can't tell me what the original Louisburg is. You're not from Compton. You can't tell me what was at what was the Walmart before it was a swap meet.
I know, right?
Not is a swap meet that became a Walmart. What was it before then?
Sears and
You know,
Roebuck.
you know, you can't tell me anything like that.
You love to get the popcorn. You love to get the
Oh,
popcorn.
come on, popcorn. That's
And then we get to go to Thrifty's and you get to get your little ice cream over
you know,
there.
and Holland's ice cream on.
Wait a minute, you remember Market Basket?
Come on.
Don't you
man.
remember?
You know, and me, I'm a West Compton guy, so I'm Miracle Market since it first opened up and everything.
And Boys Market.
And Boys Market and
Boys
country.
Market?
So when I talk to people.
Square Deal?
What's Square Deal?
Little small little
Small little
market
market.
on Compton Boulevard, like right on Compton Boulevard, between the 09 and I know, it was just a little small.
Okay.
It the little neighborhood store, like you would just walk around.
But I do
So
remember
you wouldn't
Zorba's.
walk to around.
Remember Zorba's?
Sure.
Absolutely. Do you remember Humphrey's Road?
Oh, yeah. And we
Take your quarter and get your soda?
we used to go to Holland Ice Cream, which is right next door to Wilson Park, and some of the best. It was a mom and pop store. But going back to your question, I feel that you need to understand and know the history of Compton to really be able to identify with some of the issues that the residents have. You know, the things that we just spoke about, they aren't there now. And old timers remember that. They remember, why don't we have those things here? Why are those things missing? When will they come back? And understanding the importance.
The Compton Christmas parade.
Well, they found some funds to make it happen a couple of years ago.
They did?
Yeah, but 2 years ago, but then this past year, the pandemic and coronavirus hit and things like that. I mean, that's a staple. You know, as a kid, you remember going to Compton High School. That's where it ended at, into the bands, and had a little battle of bands and everything, and all that. You're Tar Babe, right? Yeah. You too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's a
So-
cheerleader too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just remember those things. I think something like that the city of Compton needs to always make sure that always happens, be it a partnership with organizations that can fund it, or help sponsor it, because it's history, it's tradition.
It is.
And I just like, you don't have to be a long-term person for Compton to run for office. I feel better. If I wasn't running for office, I would gravitate towards, okay, which individuals have been here the longest? Like, grew up here, can talk about certain things. That would carry the most weight with me as a voter. I've been asked a lot of times, where, I was in a group with the guy, said, where are you from? He said, he said, I would love for the candidates to say where they're from. I immediately knew what he meant. He didn't want a background. He wanted to know where you were from. I said, 156 in Wilmington.
All right.
Behind the airport, Coffin
Behind
Park
the
Village,
airport.
Wilmington Arms.
Our auntie lived there.
Right.
Do you remember the Gibbs family?
Yes, they live, my mom, they live 2 houses down. That's your auntie?
Not Elizabeth.
No.
William T. Gibbs.
With
Absolutely.
Jimmy on them?
Uh-huh.
Jimmy, Lawrence, Wayne, Tammy, Gwenny, there's
Yeah,
one more.
Gwenny.
You remember
Bob?
Janet Gill?
Janet Gill. Do you remember
Yeah.
Janet Gill?
Yeah,
You remember the brooms?
Yeah, that was,
Uh-huh.
see?
We spent a lot of time on
See,
156.
if you can't talk about that, then are you really confident? If you can't go back in the history of your block, and I get it, the law just says you have to live here within a certain time in order to qualify for the ballot. Nothing wrong with that. But then, when the voters ask you where you're from, how long you've been here, they want to know, can you connect with me? Can you understand the issues I've been dealing with for a certain period of time, and for how long I've been dealing with those issues? It's important. We have so much illegal dumping in Compton, a lot. But I grew up not seeing that. So when people talk about that, I understand their frustration, because we didn't have that. And now they want to know, how do you fix that? Those are very legitimate questions. Parking on residential streets all over Compton. But that's the issue of housing shortage. That's the issue of garage units being converted so that they can house individuals. That's why that's there.
But I also think too, it's also an issue of a different, and I don't think this is something that's unique to Compton, but I think because of the housing shortage and the inability of affordability of single-family homes, you now have extended families and multiple families living in a dwelling, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone in that dwelling has a vehicle.
Yes.
Which is something, I remember, we grew up on Arbutus Street, and I remember sitting on my neighbor's porch, because it faced right down Oleander, waiting for a car to pass by. It was
Right.
just that quiet in Compton in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? And now, you go to, you know, our house in Compton, and you can't find.
Mhm.
I have to park on Palmer and walk
Walk
back.
around,
It's
yeah.
because,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's an issue that we have to begin to look at.
And housing is a big issue. I believe in two things. I believe in affordable housing,
Mhm.
and I believe in attainable housing. They aren't the same. And a lot of times people think when you use the two words, you're talking lower income households, public assisted, public aided households. Not at all. And you do want to create a pathway for those individuals can attain housing in Compton. Because when you own a home, you're more likely to take pride in that home.
Absolutely.
You're more likely to take pride in that landscape. You don't want your grass brown, because now that's literally your grass. You don't want the paint in your household or your home to become extremely faded, because now that's your home. And I do believe that the city of Compton should look into apartment units that are a certain scale in the right locations. There's one thing about the city of Compton that makes it beautiful to me is the only city in LA County, you can look this up, that are bordered by 4 distinct freeways.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
i.e. the hub city.
Exactly,
Right.
but on the north, the 105, on the south, 91, on the west, the 110, on the east, the 710. So depending on where you work in LA County, getting to a freeway is not a long drive. Take the city of Torrance. You have to drive for a minute to get to certain parts of Torrance off the freeway. That's one of the beautiful things about Compton. So why can't we build certain housing that's a little more upscale, but individuals that can afford that and live in Compton?
That brings up, I know it's not my turn yet, but that brings up a question that I have.
Mhm.
Gentrification is happening all over the
LA
world,
County,
right? And based on the things that you just said,
Mhm.
what are your thoughts about the fear of gentrification or the pleasure of gentrification happening
Well,
within the city of Compton?
The fear is real. But I mentioned the upscale housing. I mentioned that from the standpoint of when you're able to bring in certain rents, you're able to pull in certain revenue from property taxes, which is a hot button issue. But now I know a certain segment of the community can afford this. So I get that up underway. So now I can go to another part of the city or another area and do affordable, attainable housing for individuals that can't afford 3 G's a month, but they can afford 2 G's a month, or maybe even 1,700. And nice quality developments that don't say, here's a house, that's it. But something that might have a pool, something that might have amenities that other higher end places have. Because with a shortage of land, you have to go vertical.
Yes.
That's the reality. But look at downtown Long Beach. They have a condominium and apartment boom right there. But what the city of Long Beach has done, and a lot of other cities have done, they said, when you build this, you must make X amount of units set aside for this income level and this income level, to make sure that individuals get opportunity to live in that type of housing, because they grew up there all their life. When gentrification comes through, it pushes people out of the neighborhood they always grew up in, makes it all expensive and fine dining, and now the person that lived there
No
all
longer
those
do that.
years, a couple generations, can't live there anymore. Recognizing that things have to change, but do they have to change so dramatically that we push out the fabric
Right,
of what makes Compton Compton?
absolutely.
So, and gentrification, I don't like that. I understand the word. I don't like the word, because when you say when I hear gentrification, I'm thinking you want to push us out. So why can't we go ahead and do neighborhood improvement,
I love that idea.
neighborhood redevelopment? It's the same thing, but stop using that word, because that word causes fear in people's hearts who are renters. The average home in Compton is selling for mid 400s, low 500s, depending on the size of the home in certain areas. I love my city, but really?
Right.
That's just the housing market. And the people buying the homes are not the individuals living in the homes. They're investors
No, they're investors.
who put renters into their home. And I get it.
Wow.
But we gotta make sure that we create our housing stock for people to live there for years as homeowners.
I agree. I mean, I worry about the millennials, right? And their ability to afford housing. And if there isn't generational wealth within that family, how does that get started? And is there any, I know there used to be a program in the city of Compton, but I'm not as well abreast, that would help people become property owners. Is there still that type of program?
I'm not aware if they do have any type of home buyer assistance program, but that's something that, as mayor, I want to bring forward with city council and see how can we look at doing down payment assistance. There's a thing called community land trust, which I'm a fan of, and what it is local cities work with buyers to buy a home. The city owns the land, and the home goes up on. You own the home. So you obtain a mortgage, the city assists you with your mortgage attainment, and you pay it, that's your home. And you stay there as long as you want to stay there. Now, when you sell the home, part of the proceeds come back to the city. And the city.
Because you don't own the land.
But you still get money from it. Because at the end of the day, we assisted you with down payment assistance. We gave you money for that, $20,000 or whatever. The home didn't sell at $500,000, it sold maybe at $200 or $250 because you're only buying the home, and it's your home. And as long as your family stays there, it's yours. But when your family decides to sell it, we split the revenue, so now we got money coming back into the city coffers, and we put somebody else at the same income level that you are in. So now we're able to make sure we have a housing development program that looks out for lower income individuals and assist them becoming homeowners. And the way you make it work is you go ahead and you buy homes that have fallen into foreclosure or disrepair, and the owner walked away from it. A lot of homes like that in Compton. But you have to have money to do that, bringing it all the way back to forensic audit. Because you can't do those things if you don't know how much money you got.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there are tons of programs out there. I'm an advocate of keeping Compton Compton. And someone said, what does that mean? I said, I'm not trying to say outsiders aren't welcome, but I would love a situation where if my son grew up in Compton and said, I want to stay in Compton, he has the opportunity to buy housing in Compton, like a lot of other cities. But in Compton, the prices are skyrocketing. And investors
I'm so sorry, guys, sorry. Thank you, Lord.
has technical difficulties.
I know, right? Yikes radio, we're good.
That was a yikes.
Yikes radio. Go ahead.
It's happening in real time.
I know, huh? Right.
But I just believe in making that
Right. I
housing.
think that would be a
to-
great program and a great initiative.
It can happen.
Yeah, and as a voter, I'm excited and inspired by that.
Absolutely.
Look at you. Not only great wearing a tie, pretty
You see
smart
it?
too.
I know.
So you're not just a pretty face.
No.
But it says that Compton, south of downtown LA, and one of the oldest cities in the county of Los Angeles. On May 11, 1888, Compton was the 8th city in California to incorporate, known as the Hub City due to its geographic location, considered a working class community. You know, guys, I think about it. You guys remember when the Dr. King Memorial was built?
I do.
Do you remember that? I was just kind of thinking, going down there memory lane. And what about the Compton Library? You guys
That was the
remember that?
best.
When
Because
the
when the
library
Compton
first started.
Library was built, skateboards had
Remember
just
that?
come out.
Yep.
Right?
And that was
And
the
you could
best
just
place to go down.
around. And you should get your roller skates. You go down there on your roller skates. I thought about about that when I was just kind of writing and brainstorming and preparing for the show, and then we talked about it.
But look at the flip side of that though.
Talked to me.
We lost our downtown.
We talked.
In order for those projects to come on board, we had to sacrifice our downtown.
But downtown was boarded up.
Downtown was boarded up, and I get it, and it was becoming decrepit and all this other stuff. I get it.
Like Woolworths was just all boarded up.
But check this out. So was downtown Long Beach.
Yeah.
So was Old Town Pasadena.
Hmm.
What other cities did that we didn't do at that moment in time, we didn't have anyone on staff that had the foresight to say, let's not break this up. Because downtowns nationwide are going away, and then what happened? Strip malls came up. They became popular all across America. And now we see what happened with all strip malls. They're going away.
They're going away.
They're becoming empty.
Yeah.
They have to reinvent themselves. But we gave up our downtown, or we gave up the concept of having downtown in order for certain things to come through. The courthouse, which I get it, you know, it's needed. You don't always, if you're a jury duty, you get lucky, you don't want to drive down LA. You go to Compton. That's a good thing, you know. The library, we needed a library.
We did, but if you think about the strip of downtown is kind of starts the other side of Willowbrook.
But see, back in the day, that
Right.
wasn't the case. Back in the day,
Well, that's true, it came all the way
all those
down.
streets didn't come all the way through.
Mhm.
They ended. Tamarind, Acacia, certain streets ended, and you had the stores. Then they opened those streets up to come all the way through, you know, but you were able to walk literally from Ole Adler almost all the way down to Santa Fe and past Santa Fe. You had stores on both sides.
And see, that's where Square Deal was, that little
Yeah.
subsector, right?
Remember Hilda's?
Yes, of course.
I mean, that was a staple for, if you went to a Compton school, that was the staple where you had to go to your uniforms.
Spent a lot of hours there with my children.
Yeah, so, we don't have that downtown.
No, we
Which
really don't.
Which ties into what's hindering us from getting entertainment in certain type of restaurants of certain quality in a certain area. And at some point in time, we're gonna have to figure out, how do we make Compton a destination city? I've always said, I want to see Compton a destination city. People say, well, what does that mean? I say, anytime I wanna do something on an entertainment level, I gotta leave Compton. I wanna go to a movie, gotta leave Compton. I wanna go to a real restaurant, on a date, with my family, whatnot, I gotta leave Compton. I wanna go roller skate, or bowling, or whatnot, I gotta leave Compton. Making Compton a destination city where individuals from certain areas come to us to do certain things. And the people that live here stay here to do certain things, because when we go other places all the time, guess what we don't get? We don't get no sales tax.
I say we take our dollars other places.
Because we have to,
Right.
not because we want to.
What are your thoughts? Because I think there was a bit of a line of thinking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, with the instatement of the hotel and the casino, that was going to create a bit of a attraction and a destination
You
place.
mean back when it first came on
Yeah,
board
what was
in
it,
the,
Crystal Park Casino,
in the
right?
80s, well, keep in
In
mind.
the 80s, that was the thought, right?
Well, when it first came online, it wasn't called Crystal Park.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't.
so-
But they changed the name to make it more exciting.
They changed the name, they had to.
Right.
Cause-
Tell me that story.
Because, I believe it was the Radisson or it was Radisson, right? I believe it was Radisson.
I'm gonna look it up.
Might be wrong with the name of it, but they built a hotel and they were gonna become part of this national chain. And they didn't keep the hotel up to the standards of that chain. And the chain said, like owning McDonald's, that you don't upgrade it periodically to fit the national look that the head people have
Right.
in the headquarters.
I'm gonna find it.
And they said, if you don't keep your standards up, you're gonna take our name off the building.
What was the original name of it? I can't remember
The
that.
Radisson or Ramada or one of the two?
I'm gonna look it up.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, so they became Crystal Palace and everything, and then the gaming part of it. When that hotel first came up, the state of California had redevelopment agencies that got money, you could do all these projects to develop your city, to bring in certain type of businesses and things like that. City Council decided to build a hotel. And the citizens, at that time, there were some citizens who didn't want it. And there were some who did want it. But it got pushed through, and it became a hotel. It never really took off where it competed with other hotels in the area along that corridor. Because when you think about it, you only have the 2 hotels in Carson along the 91, and as you're going east, you don't have any really hotels on the 91 until you get to Lakewood or Valley Boulevard maybe.
Oh, yeah, that little motel. right?
Exactly, but you don't have any substantial size hotels. The thought was that we would be able to snipe off some travelers that flew into LAX, that had business to do in maybe Orange County, but didn't want to stay in Orange County. Or business to do in Carson, they was in Carson, we would go ahead and capture some of them, but it never really happened. Is a hotel needed in Compton? Yeah. Is that the best hotel? I can't say. I never stayed there. I've been inside there before.
I haven't
A friend of mine was he was playing cards there one night. I walked inside just to say what's up, and it smelled like chicken grease.
Oh,
And
my
I
goodness.
said, I can't stay here. I just bought this shirt.
Not chicken
I
grease.
smell like chicken. What's going on? I'm sorry. I'm not making this up.
I
Someone out there in TV land is like, you know what? He's right.
Like, it happened.
You know, probably was good chicken though.
Like, wait, you dipped in there a couple times. It's just like, what? I don't know, it just don't be feeling right. It's a little,
You know,
don't feel right.
you know, I don't gamble. I don't have an issue with gamble, but I don't gamble. So
I know, that's
a couple
what
times I
I'm
went in
like.
there. I was going to meet some friends in there. I
Exactly.
have a couple of drinks while they took place and everything. I think the concept of it and with gaming becoming more and more prevalent, the potential for it to really make money is there. I don't believe the city of Compton has anything to do with the ownership to the standpoint that they can make suggestions saying, we need you to do this. So I believe it's totally independently owned and operated exclusive of the city of Compton. We might get some money from issuing of gaming permits and hotel licensing, but we can't tell them paint the building. We can't tell them improve the hotel rooms and things of that nature. So
So that's part of like unincorporated, would it be a part of that?
That's Compton.
Rancho.
that's Compton.
Interesting.
That's Compton.
Okay.
Hard.
Our Zoom room has a question for you, Rodney. Princeton asked, if elected mayor, who would you like to make up your dream council out of the candidates running for individual council seats? Treasurer and clerk? Question mark.
Come on, Princeton, man, the election is like 11 days away. I need votes, bro. I need votes.
So you cannot comment at this time.
No.
Please.
I mean, okay, Princeton, I'm gonna answer this question as authentically as I can. So, as a resident of the city of Compton, I'm obviously a voter, right? So I have to vote for the city attorney, I have to vote for treasurer, I have to vote for city clerk, because those individuals are up for election. And because I live in District 3, I have to vote for councilperson District 3. I have to vote, the current councilwoman is Ms. McCoy, and she has challengers against her. So, to answer part of Prince's question, dream team person from District 2, which is currently occupied by a current city council member. I've interacted with Mr. Fisher, Mr. Dawson, and Mr. Spicer, and have had real conversation with them. So any one of those three would be my dream team from that. And there are more than 3 people running in that race. So, you know,
Good type,
you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's what that retreat's gonna be for.
Yes, ma'am, but, and if anyone wants to go ahead and say, and people in the community have their various issues where they don't care for certain people of those three. And people might not care for me, I respect that. But all I can say is that I've spoken to all three of those men, and I know that if any one of those three were to win, that would be a good look for me.
Gotcha.
That would be a good look for me. The city attorney is running unopposed, so he's also a fraternity brother, so, you know,
Okay.
Kappa man, so we'll go ahead and say, dream team.
Put it in there.
You know, city treasurer is tricky. City treasurer, you have a long-term, treasurer, Mr. Sanders.
Is that Wesley Sanders?
He's so Sanders. Yeah. And unfortunately, some malfeasance occurred that he wasn't directly involved in, but in my opinion, occurred on his watch. And maybe I shouldn't say this and everything, but he asked me a real question, so I'm gonna give him a real answer. Because at the end of the day, this is who I am anyway, 24/7. So, for me, that eliminates Mr. Sanders as someone that I would want to have on my dream team. Could I work with him? Absolutely, but since I'm a voter, and I get to vote for that race, you know, it's not about Rodney being a mayor, but Rodney being a voter.
Right.
So that leaves Ms. Rita and Brandon Mitchell. I believe it's Brandon Mitchell. Brandon, if you're watching this, I apologize, brother. I'm about to laugh, I'm bad at names. But those two individuals, I spoke with both of them and liked them. Liked them a lot. I couldn't go wrong with either one of those two being on my dream team. So that eliminates Mr. Sanders. So I'm sorry, what's his name again?
Princeton.
Princeton. So Princeton, I hope you can work with me a little bit and see that I'm not trying to be evasive, but you know, I need some votes too. So city clerk. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out there. Her name is Brenda.
L. Green.
Pardon me?
Brenda L. Green.
Is that her name?
No, remember that on the wall.
I was like, that's from the
Oh.
line. I was like, I don't think Brenda's running. No.
I believe. Oh no, Miss Boone. I believe Miss Boone. I like Miss Boone a lot. I do. Miss Boone knows the city charter. She knows it like the Pledge of Allegiance. She does. I've spoken to her. Miss Godwin is nice. Spoken to her, but it's something about Miss Boone that resonates with me.
Yeah?
I'm gonna go ahead and put myself on the edge and say, and you know, I know somewhere my campaign manager is like, dude, you shouldn't be answering these questions.
Okay,
But
we should not do this then.
no. You know what? At the end of the day,
They were in the Zoom room. They were.
at the end of the day,
That's right,
at the end of the day, I made a comment where I said to you, you said, Rodney, do you want to know some of the questions? I said no. You said, is there anything we should stay away from? I said no. Keep it at me. So I put myself in here. So that's who I like for city clerk.
Okay.
So I believe that in regards to my district, District 3, there are some people who I like a lot. I've known Ms. McCoy since I was a youngin. I started my first job at the age of 14 at the city council, from youth program, senior program. And Ms. McCoy and I started working for the city full time in '88. That's when I first recall meeting her. But I've known her since '88. So I know her as an individual before she became elected official. And for me, that gives me a certain level of comfort, knowing that I could work with her because I know her. Do I have concerns and complaints about her office? Well, yeah, we all do. But do they rise to the level where I think that she is a horrible choice? No. Now, a person that is there are two people who are strong pushers against her. Ms. Richardson Blue and Ms. Flores. I've interacted with Ms. Richardson Blue more than I have with Ms. Flores. I like the things that they say. I really do. But if I'm creating a dream team and I want to hit the ground running, I'm going to say Ms. McCoy for that seat.
Okay.
So the two individuals, the city treasurer, I can work with either one of them. I like them both. I think Princeton, I would suggest going to the website and giving them calls because they will take your calls.
They do.
Okay.
They will take your calls, but those two individuals will be on my dream team. And because I'm a loyalist type of guy, so because I've spoken to both of them, the one person who I will vote for, they are aware I'm gonna vote for them. So I don't wanna say it right now to sway anybody else's vote.
Right.
So,
You gonna tell me after the?
yeah, they have to.
After the clip.
But, I'm not sure where Princeton is, but I think the hottest seat, the hottest race in Compton right now is District 2.
Is that our district?
I think that's our district.
District 2 is hot. It is.
Okay, like what's the zone in area there?
That's gonna be, East Compton, that's gonna be, everything east of Willowbrook and north, Willowbrook, El Segundo on the north,
No, that's not my district.
Willowbrook on the west, Atlantic on the, I think Atlantic
Oh, yeah,
on the,
no.
east.
It's like the Dominguez area, Dominguez High School.
Like,
area.
no, not that far over, I don't think. It might be,
Mhm.
it might be.
And who's running in that race?
That's the one with, candidate, Jake Dawson, candidate, Fisher, candidate Spicer, candidate, incumbent, Galvan, and I believe there's just one other person. I think we had five in that race right there, but that's the hot race. And then me.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, why don't you kind of, remind our listeners when and how do they vote?
Well, in years past, traditionally, you would go ahead and you would actually go to a polling place on the election day, which is April 20th.
April 20th.
April 20th, everybody, April 20th.
That in the
You would go
comments.
there, and then if you have requested an absentee ballot, you would have got an absentee ballot, and you can fill it out, mail it in, or you can fill it out and go to a polling place and drop it off. Well, because of the pandemic, at the national level, election you have for president and all other offices, you had an option of standing in line or mailing your ballot in. The city of Compton, I believe in December of this year, decided to make this current election all mail-in.
Oh, wow. Wait, all melon.
All
Yes, all
mail-in.
mail-in.
So there are drop boxes, I believe there's one in Gonzalez Park, Ludus Park, the library, Gonzalez Park, Ludus Park, library,
I got to drop my.
Hemingway Park, and Norwalk.
Okay.
And-
Gonzalez, for sure.
Yeah, Gonzalez, Luders, Hemingway, Compton Library, and you can drop them off.
Yes.
Now, you can drop them off up through the 20th. So the day of the election, you can drop it off. Or you can mail it in. And
So you don't have to use the drop-off, you could also mail.
you can mail it in.
Okay.
And we can drop it off, take a picture of your tracking number, so you can track it. If you mail it in, take a picture of your tracking number, and go and register to track your ballot. And when the ballot actually reaches the election office, you get an email saying your ballot has been received.
Okay.
And when it's been counted, you get an email saying your ballot's been counted.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much. I tell people who want to mail their ballots in, don't mail it on the 20th. Mail it on the 19th. Because if you mail it on the 20th, you have to make sure that you're mailing it at a time it's gonna get picked up. You might go to a box on the corner and drop it off at 3 o'clock, but maybe they picked it up for that day at
1
2
o'clock,
o'clock or
right.
1 o'clock. So if you're gonna mail it on the 20th, make sure that you are aware what time to mail it in.
Right.
If you're gonna, I tell everybody, mail it that Monday. Drop it in the mail that Monday.
Just do it.
Cause you drop it in at 8 o'clock at night somewhere on a Monday, the next day in the morning, when they open that box up, they're gonna pull it anyway.
Right,
Give yourself that cushion.
yes,
You know.
absolutely.
You know, I was gonna tell everybody, so, like, I haven't done mine yet,
Okay.
because I wanted to, wait for a couple of things to still look at and everything, and then I'm gonna mail mine tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow's 11.
Yeah,
That's a good time.
yeah. I mean, but, but I'm gonna actually go inside the post office and drop it off.
Put it right there.
Yeah,
Don't put it in one of the boxes.
you can, but for me, I'm gonna go inside.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I wouldn't suggest giving it to your mailman or mailwoman and have them do it, because, and this is not a slight against them, but I know that a lot of times mail carriers are so full with stuff like that, I don't wanna give them extra work.
Yes,
You know, just go,
that's very
go
true,
to the local post office, mail it,
right.
you know? And then also, if it doesn't get mailed in, then you have an attitude with your postal personnel.
That's true, that's true, that's true.
And we need them way more than they need us. My mail might
Absolutely.
come once a week now, and I can't figure out why.
Like, dang, I used to get, I don't get that anymore.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
Princeton, I hope I answered, your questions.
Yeah, I think so. Princeton hasn't responded back in the chat, but as soon and if there's any comments, I encourage him to do that. And we invite all of you to give us a call and talk with our candidate here. You can reach us at 310-910-9676, extension 1. That's 310-910-9676, extension 1.
Thank you, Susie, I appreciate it.
Great, and, okay, so Princeton has another question. Are we ready?
The Princeton review, that's
So,
just.
ma'am.
what's so heated about the council race you mentioned?
You know, politics can be ugly business, and especially when people have a goal that they want to attain, be it doing things that maybe they wouldn't have done in the past to get elected, or your supporters may be doing something unbeknownst to yourself. So in District 2, there's been accusations of residency, people question people's education, if they really have this, histories regarding bad behavior in the past maybe, things of that nature, and it's become public. You know, text messages and emails and postings, and it just makes it a very, I don't want to say ugly, but it's made it a very contested race, where the race really should be about who's the best person, but some of the things that are coming out are legitimate. They are legitimate, you know, and if you can prove that it's not true, prove it. And some have, but it's just very contentious. As a voter, if I live in District 2, and I didn't know what's true, what's not, I would be hard pressed to try to figure out who's the best person.
Who's the best
Yeah.
candidate?
And that's why I say call them. And we've been, City of Compton has had the nonprofit organizations and whatnot, Compton's done a fantastic job of holding forums for the candidates, about 7. I've done all of them.
Wow.
I've got forum fatigue, on top of some interviews on top of that, and they were advertised. I don't know if a lot of voters had the opportunity to watch the forums, to see people talk, see the questions that they want to answer. So the reason why I do them, because I want people to see me.
Right.
Yes.
And that way, that way you say, I don't want to vote for this dude. At least you have a reason. His voice irritated me. I don't like bow ties. I don't like goggle eyes. I just don't like the way he looks. But at least you can say that because you saw me.
Right.
Versus going off of what somebody else said. Don't vote for that guy.
Mhm.
Why? Well, just don't. So that's why I did all the forums. I did the interviews and things of that nature. I think in District 2, it's very important that the residents who are undecided take time to look at all the candidates running. And maybe the person you wanna vote for might not be the best person, but that's the choice that works for you. Can never get mad at that.
Absolutely.
True.
No,
So true.
it's true. Oh, no, I said, no, you can't get mad at that person for doing their research and having questions.
I know. I have a question for you guys. Do you happen to know Griffith? Okay, I'm just gonna kind of show you guys this. In 1867, Griffith D. Compton led a group of 30 pioneers known as Compton.
Yep.
Right? Griffith D. Compton donated his land to create the city of Compton in 1888. Again, that was on May 11th, with a population of 500 people. The first city council meeting was held on May 14th, 1888. But what I found to be quite interesting in our research process, that 100 years later, in 1988, Straight Outta Compton was released.
Was that on purpose?
Right? I'm wondering, right?
You know, but we would be remiss if we don't remember or don't factor in the land contributions from the Dominguez family, which allowed Compton to spread its
Expand.
size.
Exactly, to expand and spread. What about Richland Farms and the residents there? You guys remember growing up? You can much closer to the farms than us, huh? Richland Farms.
You know, when I was younger, there was a park I used to, as a kid, play baseball at in the farms, but really didn't go in the farms that much. Not for anything bad, it was just the farms were always kind of like a little isolated area between like Greenleaf and kind of larger. What's that? Is that first White Marsh? That went from Wilmington going back towards Oleander or whatever, but it was like it's enclosed. There's only a couple ways to get up inside there. Maybe Center, you can get in off of Center, you can get off of White Marsh, Caldwell.
Bennett off of Wilmington.
Yep, Bennett and everything. Richland Farms was always that area. The zoning allows it to have farm animals because of the size of the property. Kind of like and that's the reason why they don't have a lot of streetlights in there. Because they wanted to keep it rural.
Right, keep it rural.
You probably have a riot if you voted. You probably get voted out of office if you said, let's put streetlights in
Exactly.
here.
That's not
Beautiful properties too.
There are a couple in there,
Yes.
but not a lot because of the livestock issues and everything like
Right.
that. But there's also an area in Compton, I can't recall the name of it, behind Compton College, that originally that's where a lot of the professors and university president and whatnot used to live. Just on the west side.
Where we used to live, what was the name of that street?
Off like by Intradrug?
By Intradrug?
Off of Artesia?
No,
Behind Compton College, off of Artesia?
you would get to it, the way I used to get to it was coming down Greenleaf. And then there's a little gate before the main gate that goes into Compton College.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. You turn in there.
Right.
Yes.
That's a nice area.
I was on the other side, but yeah, the other side of there. Very nice.
And that's the one thing about city council. There are some, I love the entire city, but some cities, the housing is more compact than other parts of the city. But as a whole, there are some parts of Compton that really are jewels.
Absolutely.
You go down the street like, this looks like a different part of Compton. What is it? And not new developments, like the older
No, the older
developments.
homes.
Yeah, and
I know we're in the Centennial High School area.
Exactly.
Really beautiful homes.
You know, and that's what makes Compton is so intriguing, so unique, because actually every couple of neighborhoods look different, have a different type of look to it, and things of that nature.
That's true. Well, our Zoom room has some more questions for you.
Okay.
And this one is getting on the more personal side.
Uh-oh.
So Angela P. would like to know.
Excuse me?
Angela P. would like to know, are you single?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait a
There we
minute.
go.
No ring.
Oh, she's single, Angela. There you go.
Was that a real question?
Yeah. It's a real
Okay.
question.
I ain't trying to shoot her shot.
I am not trying to shoot my
No,
shot.
no.
No.
I said the listener.
Angela,
Oh.
okay,
is trying
all
to
right,
shoot her
yes.
shot.
Well,
Angela,
thank you, Angela, for the question. Yes.
555.
And again, we invite you to call and talk with our mayor candidate here, 310-910-9676, extension 1.
You know, that's an interesting question she asked,
Mm-hmm.
because when I first said we're gonna run, some friends of mine was like, well, are you gonna have a girlfriend or whatnot? And I was like, well, why?
Does that matter?
Actually, with my male friends and my female friends, they were like, I don't know if a single guy can run and win. Be taking seats. I'm like, does that? I was like, well, I'm not running for president or anything like that. But those were things that I heard. So there was a couple years ago, back in 2019. I had said that.
Have there been single mayors before?
Probably someone paired that was single.
Eric Perry was single?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Let me not speak for that man. He wasn't married.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right, that was,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay.
I don't want to offend anybody that may have been dating or involved with Mr. Perry.
Well, and that we know of, right? There was no public record of a marriage.
Yeah, so, you know, I never want to be involved in any type of scandal where someone comes up and says, oh, you running for mayor? Oh, well, let me do this. So I took the conscious effort of saying, when I run for mayor, I'm going to stay focused on that and keep my attention on that.
Right,
You know, because the last thing I want to do is something pop up on IG somewhere or something like that. And, you know, I would know somebody post and say something inappropriate. Now it comes up, you know, everybody's joking, but all of a sudden my joke is the worst joke.
Of course,
Right,
because you're in the public eye.
Right, right. I don't want to be that person.
Exactly.
But I don't talk like that on any social network because it comes back and bites you.
Exactly, that's that forensic stuff, you gotta.
Yes, Angela, that was.
And so since we've kind of we've moved into the scandalous. Scandalous. So I have a couple of questions. Being born and raised, just like you, born and raised in
Yeah.
Compton. And my parents were quite politically involved
Yes.
and motivated when they were here on this earth. So there's a long history of scandals
Mhm.
and bribes
Mhm.
and corruption
Mhm.
from the mayor's office all the way down.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? How do you clean that up?
Well, that implies it's going on right now.
I believe it is.
Okay. So how would I think? How would I? I'm trying to never scope the question.
Wait a minute. I wasn't ready for that one, right? Yeah.
So-
Well, wasn't there a recommendation a few years back that came out from the state or someone that we should hold an independent audit of
Well-
our funds? It wasn't a mayor thing,
Yeah, well,
but a recommendation of that.
So you have a couple of things going on with that question, so let me go ahead and just,
Okay,
let me work backwards and come forward.
okay.
In the past, there have been previous mayors, city council members, city managers get involved in court cases that cause some to do jail time.
Yes.
You know, for misappropriation of funds or stealing funds or whatnot. So how do I know that I won't let myself get involved in that? And I say it jokingly, but it's true. I'm built for a lot of things. I am. I'm not built for jail.
I was just gonna say, but.
I mean, and that's a true
But jail
statement.
isn't one of those?
No,
This side of the wall.
and my family and my aunt, my friends are all from Compton. And my mom, she passed away in January, but if my mom was still here, another reason why I wouldn't do that, because the embarrassment associated with doing that. I don't think I could ever live that down.
You know, but Rodney, I don't think you would do that. I don't think you do that, but it kind of connects to and a question we had earlier about putting together your dream team,
Exactly.
right?
So with that being the case, if I know that I'm holding myself to a certain standard,
Mhm.
I want to do my best to hold my council members, my counterparts, to the same standard. Now, how do you do that? I don't like the word transparency because it appears that it makes it sound like there are times that.
That you're not.
Yeah,
Correct.
but for right now, the word transparency, my thing is, every single dollar that comes into the city company, everyone's gonna know about it. Not just this person, this department, or these individuals. The entire city will know about it. It will be on council agenda. It'll be notarized that we got this in. And the city council, for the most part, to the best of my knowledge, does that. I'm always seeing, the agenda item saying, authorization to receive this money or that money. I don't know if it's all, I wanna go off of myself, the agenda, but transparency on every single dollar coming in, every single dollar going out, because everyone knows it's $1 million right there, and at some point in time, that million becomes 900, then everyone's gonna say, well, what happened to that missing 100? But only a couple people know about it. It's easier to do that. So with that being the case, that's how I would do, that's what I would do to make sure that money doesn't go mysteriously missing. And that's one of the big complaints that residents have. Residents do say a lot that council's stealing money, city manager's stealing money. I don't know if that's true or false. I like to think that it's not, but people say that. So all you can do, the city administration as a whole, historically, has done a lot to lose the public trust. It's on us to earn it back. And it starts with just saying, hey, for as long as we need to, we're gonna be transparent. We're gonna tell you everything, we're gonna show you everything. If there is that going on right now, and I become elected, and I don't have my dream team, so maybe some people from the past are still on the team, I'm gonna make sure that I push as hard as possible that we report everything that comes in. In the past, going to what you said, there has been resistance from previous administrations not to do that full accounting. And I think the reason is because no one wanted to come out that they were involved with something that was missing. If I'm trying to hide something, I don't want y'all going looking for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and not approve it. So I think that's one of the reasons why it was kind of vetoed and stopped in the past. I like to believe everyone right now running for office is like, oh, we want to clean up the city, clean up the city. We want to go ahead and get everything above board. We want to know what all the pennies and nickels and dollars are. So if everyone means what they're saying, regardless of who wins, they all should be asking for forensic accounting. Whoever wins mayor and city council at that first meeting, they don't bring it up, you already should be telling yourself, you lied. Because all the forms I've been in, all other 9 candidates, well, and not all 9 haven't shown up consistently, but when they have shown up, said the same thing. People running for city council said the same thing. Treasurer, clerk. So we all saying the same thing. But saying something to get something ain't the same as carrying it out. And you know, and I think that if people have more people holding them accountable, really have shady behavior. I like the fact that a lot of people in Compton know me as a person. That means that when I do something dirty and I go to the barbershop, I'm gonna get called out. I'm gonna get called out. I ride the blue line a lot. That's not gonna change when I become mayor. I don't like driving. So if the train goes there, so somebody's gonna call me on that train, yo, you stealing money.
Oh my God,
If you don't have, I hate city council people in any jurisdiction that don't have their feet on the ground. I don't see you at this store. I don't see you at Louis. I don't see you in Louisiana. I don't see you. I just see you when you're doing food giveaways. But yet, you from the community. The Compton College is open. I don't know, they track every Saturday and Sunday. You know, I ride my bike in Compton. I walk around, so why haven't I seen those people? The current people. Someone said, sometimes I walk from Willowbrook to Wilmington, and 156 where my house is, and everything, because I hate driving. So I'll walk, it's a half-hour walk. And I make that comment, and someone said, Mayor Brown walks that, like, where? I've never seen her walking. And people hit me with these things, and I'm like, where?
Right. I'm here on the ground
I'm
every
here,
day.
you know. Or special. I'm not doing anything that's extraordinary. Just doing regular guy stuff, because at the end of the day, you want your mayor and city council member to be regular, like you said, they can understand what you deal with. Come on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Lauren.
I agree. I think it's a change in culture.
Oh, it has
That,
to be.
that we've had a culture that doesn't operate from a level of complete collaboration and transparency in ultimately our business practices. And I think the key thing you said is accountability.
Yeah.
A system won't operate effectively if there's no level of accountability instilled within that system.
And it's interesting, you don't get paid to be a mayor of Compton or city council member. You get a stipend, and you get a car allowance, you get some medical insurance, and I believe you get a cell phone and whatnot. You might even get a laptop, I don't know.
Okay.
But you to put yourself out there where you have a bullseye on you all the time, and you're not getting paid.
And you paid $800 just to get in the race? Don't forget that.
You gotta do it for the love of it. That has to be it.
That's true.
Or unless you work in something back door.
But now here's, again, devil's advocate, right? I know through the years it has been alluded to
Mhm.
that that is what sparks the motivation for the corruption. Because the stipend is so low. I think the last time I checked it was about $7,200 to be mayor of the city. And that maybe we need a full-time mayor that has an actual compensation
Wow.
tied to it to decrease the
Well,
temptation.
I-
What are
I-
your thoughts about
I
that?
believe that, well, that is true. Lack of money from doing something. They call it part-time, but it's not part-time.
No, it's full-time.
We've had some good council members who grind, and they're putting in a lot of hours to be part-time. I believe that sometimes you might not get the best candidate possible because they can't afford to run. Suppose you got a young person, mid-30s, homeowner, wife, couple kids, but it might be the best person ever to run for office. They can't afford to.
No,
They gotta pay their mortgage note,
absolutely.
that car note, and the kids are playing sports and this and that. And so how can they afford to run? So, jumping ahead for a little bit, I do believe that the mayor and city council should be compensated. I do believe that they should be made full-time employees. However, not now.
Not right now.
We have a budget deficit going on right now. We have to figure out how do we get ourselves from a negative to a positive. So what I would propose that in the 3 elections from now, I believe it's 2032, beginning in 2032, pay your mayor and city council.
Those become full-time positions.
Full-time positions,
That's a
and
good idea.
you don't allow them to have any outside employment, they sign this, so on and so forth. And the reason why you pick that figure far away, if we can't get our finances together in 11 years, no, as long as, in 11 years, then we got bigger problems than paying our city council anyway.
Right.
But they deserve to get paid for the work they're putting in. I believe that, but right now, it's not the time. And I do believe the stipends are a little low, and there was a time, I'm not sure how recent, it may have been 6 or 7 years ago, when the district attorney informed the city council to tell them to stop paying themselves for attending, certain committee members.
Meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the explanation that was given for why it was happening sounded valid to me, that that's what had always been done. No, that they weren't aware that they couldn't reimburse, because some individuals who do attend the meetings get paid. County people, they just figured out they pay themselves too, which makes sense. We're going to a meeting, you're getting paid, but no one really understood the charter. So maybe the incentive to pay yourself, but because the stipend you're getting is so low anyway, and you attend these meetings outside of your regular council things. So sometimes, with a person, you never know what a person who is in dire financial straits might do.
Right, that's so true. So true.
That's true.
And so why?
Or even through rationale and validation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a society that we pay and validate through monetary gain.
I tell my,
So if we only
I,
give 3 cents to our mayor.
when I
that's-
go somewhere and I see a friend leave her purse around and everything, I say, hey, take your purse with you. She's like, no, I know everybody here. Now I always say, you do, but you don't know who's really broke right now. You don't know who needs that extra little bit of money right now. And because they're in dire straits, like you just said, they're gonna risk that one time.
Right.
And it happens.
It does.
People, you know, it happens amongst friends. So that happens at the city council level. But I don't think that that's really happening on the outside looking in. I choose to believe that that's not happening right now. I could be totally wrong. But I'm choosing to believe that no one's doing it right now. Because if they are, with that forensic audit, it's gonna come out.
Right.
Now we all looking at you like, oh, you the shady one.
Exactly.
So,
That's true. I have some questions about the economic growth and development in the
Yes.
city. And what has COVID, or how has COVID impacted that growth trajectory, if at all?
I think on a regional level, within Los Angeles County, it slowed down the growth that all cities were on. Some cities got hit harder because their economic base was really big. You know, they had malls and movie theaters and big corporations that were major employers in the area, and to that nature. People weren't buying as much as normal. People weren't going to stores. So stores were closed down, like Best Buy and Target and Ross and all that. People were buying stuff more online than going to the store. So when things are opening back up, we're also accustomed to buying online now, but it's still not going back inside at the rate that we used to. The pandemic has killed a lot of businesses. Some businesses went away and will not come back. I don't know the exact number how many have hit the city of Compton, but regionally, a lot of businesses have closed down. A couple of restaurants I used to go to, gone. They were already small anyway.
Right. We just couldn't
But
survive.
yeah, that's the thing.
Is the deers gone? Oh my goodness.
So, but now, what President Biden does, and they're still working with it in Congress, he signed this massive infrastructure project deal, and he signed, it's called something relief deal, to give individual governments money directly to offset the losses they took because of the coronavirus and things being shut down. So I think the city of Compton may do, what I would suggest we do, is a portion that comes in that we use to offset any extra money that we had to spend to operate the city government, staff salaries, law enforcement, things of that nature, that we set some aside to assist small businesses. You know, a small little micro loans if possible. You know, help them get reestablished. And additionally, using our resources to with the SBA. Yes. And some of those are forgivable.
Right?
Some of those are totally forgivable.
They are.
You know, but a lot of people didn't use them right, so some people are catching
Got in
cases.
trouble behind that.
I'm not doing that. Remember, I'm not built for that. I'm not built for that.
That'd be a no.
That'd be a no.
Absolutely.
But,
No.
it got hit hard, but I think, within a couple of years, if that loan will bounce back, I believe the city of Compton, needs to bring in new businesses, while not neglecting the current businesses, but we need to bring in new businesses that bring in new, income streams. We need to work with, new technologies, manufacturing. You know, we have more and more companies going to electric. You know, we need more batteries and newer batteries. In the manufacturing aspect of it in Compton, we got some places that would be great hubs for that workforce, while employing city residents.
We need that.
We do.
What about that new development area in Central between Rosecrans and Osaganda, prior to before getting to Centennial Street?
You mean the Brickyard?
Yes.
With the Best Buy, all that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and those type of projects are great for the city. They were done well. We've done well. The landscaping, the way the walls are done, the setbacks, the traffic flow. And those are businesses, to a certain level, have helped the housing prices in that area because of the quality. They employ Compton residents, great sales tax beneficiary to it. And then when you go back south on Central, those businesses tie into the success of that Starbucks, that Panda Express, that Rite Aid, that all that, you know. So that was a development that was done very well. And then the development off the 91 freeway off of Central and Artesia.
How's
Well,
that doing?
it's
Is
doing
that
well.
big In-N-Out?
In-N-Out Burgers, for your local Jimmy John's.
It's always so
Also-
crowded, I never go.
That's a
in
good
there.
sign, all right?
Look at that.
That's a good sign, but they're doing well. They're doing well. So things like that bring in revenue, bring in people that normally wouldn't come to Compton to eat necessarily, but we still eat those sit-down restaurants. That's what bring in.
Now, do you remember the Sizzler that was on Compton Boulevard?
I love the Sizzler. That's back in the 90s.
God.
Yeah. Why do you think
1985.
that didn't, I never understood this. Do you
Well,
have an
Sizzler-
idea why it didn't
Sizzler
make?
started downsizing,
And why did they take out?
probably because the revenue wasn't working out for them. But
And I just thought because the courthouse was right
yeah,
across the
but
street,
that was
that lots
Sizzler.
of traffic would come
Yeah.
there.
But that was a corporate decision. That wasn't city Compton and everything. That was corporate. But oh man, I love Sizzler. I still go to the one in Carson.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the closest one. What's one of them? Yeah, Carson. That's the
Yep.
closest one.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the cheesy bread, man.
Oh, yeah, I love the cheesy bread.
Cheesy
Absolutely.
bread.
It's straight
Look
from
at that.
I'd like to circle back to something you said at the start of our time together, which is a question, I mean, for the 137 years I've been here, we haven't had in Compton, which is not a drive-in movie theater, but a sit-down movie theater.
You know.
Why, is there any, have you heard any thoughts of that?
You
Would
know.
your administration look to bringing that on board?
Well, 4 years ago, our current mayor, when she was running, she said she was gonna bring a movie theater to Compton. I'm not sure what happened. It was gonna be in the area where the Best Buy and 24-hour fitness theaters and all that, there's land over there. Not sure what happened. I'm not sure if they couldn't get a movie chain to say, we'll come to Compton. They couldn't find an independent chain to do it. It was a logistic issue. Not sure, but I looked up, and within the same time frame, the city of Carson had a movie theater.
Right?
So I'm wondering, well,
Right, well, there were some rumors about, remember Magic Johnson opened up the movie theater in,
yeah,
Baldwin
yeah,
Hills
but I'm not
area.
exactly sure what happened, but that's something that I would push. I would push for that. That goes, that ties into the entertainment aspect of what we don't have in Compton. I like to roller skate. And if you look at YouTube and Facebook, there are so many people doing roller skating on basketball courts, the rails are taken off now, that flat area, or parking lot areas. There is a thirst for that, and that's something that can be done relatively inexpensive.
Right.
I mean, and like it'll be open 7 days a week, like the old skate depot in Cerritos,
Right,
you know?
I do.
I mean,
We had that skating when we was little kids, guys, back on Central.
yeah, skate depot,
Yeah.
Skateland USA.
Remember that?
Yeah, Skateland was dope, but Skateland was off limits to a lot of people too.
That's what I'm saying, that's
So-
what it takes us to,
So,
the
so,
crime.
The
so-
crime.
so that's
Okay.
that's something that any business that comes into conflict like that, you have to work close. The city's got to work closely with that business, with law enforcement to say, we're gonna keep this. We want that type of crime element abated as much as possible citywide anyway. Not just in the brand new,
Absolutely.
not in the brand new area, not an older area. It's like you only care about the new area. You don't care about this going on over here. But to grow our economic base, we have to really be on top of making sure that this area doesn't become known as, you can only go here if you're from West Compton
Right.
or East Compton.
Right.
Or things of that nature.
Leads me to my next question. If, you know, I'm debate between the sheriff department versus Compton PD being reestablished?
Well, crime, unfortunately, when the pandemic first hit, the first shutdown first hit, crime started to gradually tick up. First it was domestic violence issues, and child abuse issues, and the auto deaths because you had more cars at home that weren't moving, and it started to tick up. And then you started to have more shootings increase because people were in closer proximity to one another on a continuous basis because you couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
You know, and it started to spike. Compton has had several shootings in the past week or so. You know, I don't know if it's gang related, I don't know if it's this personal issue, but within the past 7 days, maybe 3 or 4 shootings, 2 of them resulted in homicides. So crime has to be addressed. And it has to be addressed in partnership with law enforcement and the city of Compton leadership to identify hot spots, hot areas, to identify how we want to handle patrolling and saturation issues. Plus at nighttime, with the sign shows occurring, or burnouts occurring, which is happening all over LA County, but it's happening a lot in Compton. You know, you got to address that.
I don't know what a side show.
I'm sorry, cars, people with cars, really fast cars.
Oh, yeah, I saw that this week. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I'm sorry.
Santa Fe, yeah.
Well, all
I didn't know
over.
what it was called.
Yeah,
I see
and,
that all the time, yeah.
You know, law enforcement, we only have X amount of hours, or X amount of officers on the streets at certain hours. You know, we pay about between $22 and $25 million a year for X amount of officers, X amount of cars, so on and so forth. So, to have more officers, you gotta pay more money.
Right.
That's how it works. So, I don't know how we would address that aspect of it.
After that forensic audit,
Pardon me?
after that forensic audit.
Yeah.
we can usually
But
say something like that.
regarding crime, the reduction of crime is a multi-agency issue. You identify what's causing the crime. You identify how you prevent that. You gotta identify how do you address crime after it's occurred. Eliminating to as much as possible this entire no snitching policy, which I get, which I understand. But you gotta figure out how to eliminate that or reduce that because law enforcement can't do its job if no one's talking to them. But conversely, no one's gonna talk to you if they feel that you don't care anyway. So you have to address that. You know, you said, I think you mentioned the discussion about bringing back our own police department.
Yes.
I hate to say this because it sounds petty, but I haven't heard anybody say this beyond me. So if other people are saying that are running for office, great. That means other people are finally thinking that way. And the reason why I first said it was not because I hate law enforcement, not because I don't care for the sheriff's department as a whole. I just felt that if we are not being treated a certain way, and we feel that we can't trust the officers or the agency that provides us services, and we're a chartered city, and we're paying for that, that means that we can choose whoever we want to choose. We can get our own. So if we're not getting any satisfaction, if no one's accountable when they act improper, because that sheriff deputy is not a deputy of the city of Compton. They're a deputy of LA County.
Right.
That's their boss. And the sheriff is the ultimate boss. We can go ahead and complain saying, Rodney sucks, he gotta go. But that captain and that sheriff say, yeah, let's move right. But if they don't say that, I'm gonna still be there.
Right.
When you don't have your own, you don't have accountability. That means you can't remove or fire or terminate when it's called for.
Right.
But when you have your own, then you can't put requirements in saying, we want the officers to live within a certain radius of Compton. Now, the workforce resembles the community because they're from your community. But when it's not yours, the sheriff officer can live in Santa Clarita and drive to Compton every day. I mean, I doubt that they would do that, but that could be.
That's quite possible.
Or a person could live in La Palma
Mhm.
and drive to Compton. They really aren't yours. So my whole thing is, if we cannot get satisfaction relationship we have with law enforcement. And I also don't know who damaged it. I don't know if the city council, mayor, council member, council person did something that made the sheriff captain of the station and her staff feel like they were being supported or incorrectly attacked. So now they feel back. It takes two people on average to start a relationship. So we should fix that. But conversely, there's nothing wrong in looking into the feasibility of the building at all. There's a thing, you can look it up, and down the line, we have the conversation called the Camden Experience. The Camden Experience.
Hampton?
And what they did back in 2001 or 11, one of those years, they got rid of their entire police department.
Okay.
And they brought back, and everyone kind of essentially had to reapply for their jobs. And it was some ups and downs to it, it was some bumps in the road to it, but the reason why they did that, because they realized that what they had wasn't working. The law enforcement relationship with the public had become so dysfunctional. And the issues becoming so inbred, us against them, they started over. Now, I use that example to say, if a department is already in existence can start over, why can't we start our own?
It's true. Do we look at the reasons, the rationale why they switched it before, or?
Well, I mean, I get the rationale. As a citizen, I understand. CPD was,
Correct.
Was what they were, right?
I was never a fan of CPD, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I've never had the best experiences
Ever.
with CPD when I've had experience with CPD. And so, the momentum to get rid of them was there. It was there.
Yeah,
And, you know, the police chief and the current mayor at that time, which I believe was, Chief, I can't think of his name, something with an H, Hurley or whatever. And on my rally, I got to the point where he fired the chief, and then Mr. Perriden's brother, who was the captain, fired him too. But, and as a mayor, you could do that. It worked for you. And then that allowed the sheriff department to come in. And when they came in, crime did drop a lot. Because they came in, did the operational tactics and everything. They didn't have any real alliance or allegiance to crime scene members. The downside was they didn't know the community. So after that brand new toy effect went away,
Right.
but oh, y'all still the sheriffs,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Just some of the doubts or concerns, you know what I'm saying, from the onset of that, but that's, I don't know, it's a big city for us to have to do, you know what I mean? I don't know. You ready to do your history?
I believe I am.
Yes.
I tell myself every night, you
Yeah.
can do this.
Yes,
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
So,
So April 10th?
April 20th.
April 10th
20th.
is you here, so.
April 20th,
Sorry about that.
you know, it should be, it's gonna be a couple of days before they have the final results, because normally less than half of registered voters vote. We kind of hover about 30% of registered voters vote, which puts us about between 15 to 17,000 people. On average, in good years, there've been some years where it's been around 10,000. So, because it's going to an all mail-in ballot, every single voter who's registered, a little over 50,000 got a ballot.
Okay.
Everyone's not gonna turn this in,
No.
but you can't just say on the 20th, or the 21st, or the 22nd,
Right.
it's over.
No.
Because factoring in mail deliveries, they probably gonna allow mail to come in up through about the 25th, 26th, and still be counted,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Because it only has to be postmarked on the 20th. So in theory, I can take, oh, I'm going out of town, and I drive to Las Vegas, and I have my ballot, and I put it in the mail on the 20th, and it gets stamped.
Right.
It has to still be counted.
Yes.
Doesn't say it has to be counted, mailed in California.
Right.
So, you know, oh, and importantly, if you find yourself outside the city of Compton and you are near a drop box for ballots, do not put your ballot in that drop box. because it will not get picked up.
Oh,
This is a city of Compton election. It's not an LA County election.
Got it.
So when the county officials send their staff out to open the boxes, they're only going to those 4 boxes
mhm.
that are listed in your ballot
Okay.
packet. So suppose you're in Hawaiian Gardens and you say, oh, there's a box, or you've been carrying it around for a couple of days and you see a box and,
Oh,
don't do that. Ludus Park, Gonzalez Park, Hemingway Park, the library.
okay.
Those are the 4.
The four.
And put it in the mail
I'm gonna go
on the
down.
19th.
You're gonna go
I'm
where?
gonna go to Gunville.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go into the post office. I'm gonna
Drop it off there.
drop it off
That's
there
about. Go inside.
and get my little text alert.
Okay.
Track it. Track it.
I'll
They
do
can get you tracking. And I think there's a box here, do you want us to track it? Check
Exactly.
it out, yeah. But thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Oh my God.
This has been a wonderful
I
time.
hadn't even looked at the clock. Have you guys looked
Oh,
at the
good
clock?
Lord.
Holy, look at her, she's like, yes, Jackie, I
Right, she said
have.
he's
He's
looked
like,
at it
you-
repeatedly.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, thank you, staff, Kevin. I hope I move around too much.
No,
But
that would be me.
I love this,
Our
this is great.
cinematographer is excellent. He
Yeah.
got you even if you were moving. Yay, Lawrence.
Appreciate it. And to the people at home who ask questions, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We've got a lot, you had a lot going on Facebook too.
We did.
A
Uh-oh.
lot of different comments, let's take a look at some more of the comments.
Well, we're gonna hurt my feelings about
Greg
this.
Woods is watching, hey, Mr. Lewis House is watching us tonight, how you doing, the fabulous G. Luke. Catch him on Sunday nights, he says hello, Lord G.
Hey,
G.
Lou,
Luke, glad
how are
to see you in
Good
the
to see
building.
you.
And Mr. Greg Woods from Compton High School. Ron Blade says, good job. to you,
Hey,
Mr.
so
Right
Ron.
Minister."
My God.
And Eric Cole, he says, what's up? You've got a lot of fans over here tonight, sir. And,
Yeah, that's your boy, what's school with you?
I know,
Yeah.
you know, but Eric, we got him in the house tonight, I drove this really hard to Compton people, like in the inboxes and I was just boom, 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 just driving it home, like, we gotta make this happen. And I see some of those individuals tuning in tonight, I appreciate it, thank you, Monique, I appreciate you, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. City of Compton, the election is Tuesday, April 20th. You wanna make sure that you get your ballots in for the City of Compton. I have decided, I think I know who I'm gonna vote for, and then, let's talk about like, your name being like number 1.
I'm on the ballot, yeah,
Number 1 on the ballot.
yes ma'am.
There's some statistics that go into that. There's some people
Yeah.
where they don't know who to vote for, they will arbitrarily vote for whoever's.
All right, yeah.
So, you're all
That-
the
Well,
way.
they can't go wrong.
That was one of the reasons why, some elections in the city of Compton in the past were contested. And they felt that certain individuals' names were put at the spot number 1 on purpose. But the LA County, they do this totally random. And I got my ballot and I opened it up and I said, what? So, yeah, no more on the ballot, it's a sign.
Boom,
It's
shakalaka,
absolutely.
shakalaka.
a
But
sign.
Rashid, if you could do me a favor, if you could just give us a little Dr. Dre to get ready to outro, we got some full Compton natives in the house
Oh,
tonight.
yeah,
Little Rashid, so we're gonna get ready. Lord, you good?
we all are.
I'm good, I've had a
No.
great time.
You
Thank
did?
you very much.
Very nice meeting you.
Thank you very much.
You too, there's
Appreciate
so
it.
much, anything you need us to do, Rodney, you let us know if there's any more information.
Hey,
And come back and visit us again
I
here.
most definitely will.
Right, we will have your
Thank you very
victory celebration.
I know, right?
Go,
Absolutely.
got a plan for it.
All right, and thank you all in our Zoom land. We appreciate it. Take care.
That's it. Y'all ready to go?
We're out.
Thank you guys for hanging out, watching us. Hey Greg, you guys get out there, vote, vote, vote. April 20th, Compton, Rodney Lister, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're gonna do. CG, I love you guys. I'm gonna head out. You should have. Tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous
Because people who
Judy.
don't know, ask questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. I'm so sorry. We're doing all kinds of stuff, like, ooh, right?
Oh, right?
So you're gonna be all tagged on this, look at everybody share this. You got Zoom room fans, you got your
5 years?
fans.
No, we've been at different studios. I think we've been here.
Sit guys.
At
Good night.
You have to come back again.
Yeah. Do a recap.